Okay, this is my car, the J-Rex. This is February 2022. The initial design build started in 2011. I actually had this car on the road in 2017 with a full body on it. Honda CBR 1000 powered. I drove it for 11,000 miles. The engine started making a noise, and I decided, well, it's time to upgrade because it only had 120, 130 horsepower. We're putting the ZX14 2012 in here. It has, with the little mod it has about 210 horsepower now. And so we're going to go over this car, just a brief explanation of it, and then other videos will be coming out or with drawings and stuff like that to show you how actually I built this thing to help anybody out, give you ideas. That's what it's all about. Up here you can see my body. Pretty dusty windshield right now. Fiberglass body. This is the main body up here. And there's the hood. The side pods that I have, they're fiberglass. They're downstairs in my basement. Along with I have a new engine cover that goes over here. I didn't have an engine cover for a while. I just actually built the engine cover, so I never had an engine cover over it. So the car was a little loud on the ears. You had to wear earplugs. Let's go over the front here real quick. We got a gel cell battery. I believe it's 300 or 400 amps. We have the Willwood master cylinders, 2 of them twins. We have the tilt and brake assembly. I have a little wheel well or foot well section there, so it's isolated. I will mention that that cover over the battery was required by the state of Pennsylvania. This is a custom Woodward steering rack. I will say, do not build it straight. I had to put a telescopic steering column in here. This actually it has a plastic bolt in it, and it will shear and collapse. The best idea for that is to offset the steering rack and use 2 joints. That way you get around that rule. They required me to do some fancy engineering here to come up with something for a collapsible steering column without buying a new rack. The inspection took 2 weeks. I had to tow it up there twice to the inspector, but it went pretty smoothly. The suspension here, that's Mustang 2 on the bottom, total custom on the top. It's okay. I'd rather a different design a little bit. I want to change the design. I also used Mustang 2 spindles, and I put I added some pieces onto it to get the steering up on top. We have the Willwood brake system in here with the vented rotors and all. As you can see, I'm doing the wiring right now. This is the new dash, ZX14. We got the removable steering wheel. That ignition switch is actually from the Honda. I'm going to probably use that. Here's their steering linkage, or the shift linkage, sorry. Shift linkage. Goes through here. It's a solid bar system. Got 2 pivots. Got a pivot rod right here. Then the rod goes right back to the shifter. Nice and simple. The engine is the solid mount. There's no rubber mounts. It's all solid. This engine was a little bit more difficult to mount because the design. The Honda had much lower engine mounts, so I had to modify it to get them up here, the engine mounts. So I had to add a bar going across there. That bar didn't exist before in the frame. Cooling system's a little complicated also. The water pipe is going in between the header and the engine block. to the other side. That radiator is a Scirocco VW. It's not very tall. It's actually a really good size. The Honda didn't overheat. Now it had a 10-inch fan only, and I added another 8-inch fan to maximize my cooling. Also, I have in the floor here, you can see it's open. It's open and has a little air dam. I bent the metal down on all that and causes the air to come up and right into the radiator. The side pods have vent holes in them too, but they don't. Most of the air comes through the bottom on this car while it's going down the road. Now this floor is a little different than your T-Rex. It has aluminum. It has a stainless steel floor on the bottom. Let me see if I can get that. It's all stainless on the bottom. And then this is a stainless steel tub all the way around, and it's all siliconed. So it's pretty solid. It's all stainless steel tub all the way around. I also have a hood cover that goes over this too. We want to keep the water out of my wife's feet and all that, so that's important to keep the water out. The floor is a double floor, so the stainless steel bottom, and then this is aluminum on top, and there's insulation in between here. It's all packed with insulation. That's 1.5 inches thick, because this is 1.5 inches 120 wall steel tubing. I bent it with a Eastwood bender, but the bender kept breaking the die, and I had to modify the die on the bender so it wouldn't break. So you got to watch that with the cheap benders. Okay, there's the engine I installed. That's a 2012 ZX14 base 208 horsepower, and you eliminate the purge system or whatever, and they say it's adds another 2 horsepower, so it's basically 210 horse. Those are custom 3D printed intake runners that I built myself. I bought a 3D printer and printed those out of PETG. It's the higher temp rated instead of PLA. I have a couple things hanging right there. That's my voltage regulator and my power commander. I'm getting ready to mount them on the inside of this. I just got the fuel pump system in. There's my ECU assembly and relay assembly. There's MSD, fuel pump, regulator. It's got a return line going. It's going to get a return line to the tank. The fuel tank goes in here. We'll show you that in a second. The exhaust system, just mounted that. Had to pinch the pipes a little bit right underneath the piping there, but it's looking good. All clearance is good. Goodly mounted. Everybody wants to know how I did this assembly here, the rear axle assembly. This is a truck wheel. Chose a truck wheel because it has a 4-inch hole. The 4-inch hole is very important on the center of the hub of the wheel. This is the back side where you can see the bolt mounts are here. So this tube spins. This is the cush drive, a custom-made cush drive. And inside here are rubber mounts. And they wear out about 3,000 miles. I want to redesign. I have a redesign of that to improve that. I do have pictures on my Facebook page for that. So this is the same size tire. This is a what is it? It's a 295 35 ZR18 wheel tire. 18-inch rim, truck rim. You need the 4-inch because you got the axle assembly has to have a hub attachment here, so you can bolt this hub assembly. This hub assembly bolts to a flange on the main axle pipe here that spins. Now the brake assembly here doesn't spin. Everything gets pinched. There's actually a tube inside this axle tube that spins. There's another tube inside it that pinches all the center bearings. When you tighten this bolt, everything pinches tight in the center. So all the bearings, there's 4 bearings, and they all pinch tight. And they pinch this tight. So this gets mounted. And to stop it from moving when it's braking, you have to have this mounting bar here attached to the trailing arm, so the caliper won't turn. You brake really hard, it's just going to turn. The whole thing's just going to turn. So that stops it from turning. So when you adjust this, your chain tensioner and all that, you have to adjust that bar also. And then to stop this from turning, you position this. Now this is a Willwood setup. It is, got some rust there, I gotta fix that too. It's got an emergency brake in it. It's a single caliper piston, GM style piston assembly. Works really nice. Inside here is a big steel plate assembly inside here, and this is my adjustment for my chain tensioner. It slides in and out of this bar. This is a 1x3. Excuse me. Get over here real quick. And you can see what I've been doing for the cooling system. This radiator does not have a radiator cap. The ZX14 or the Honda engine had a radiator cap built into the engine. I had to make this assembly here with the radiator cap, and the inlet for all my water goes in here, goes into the top of the radiator, and will come out the bottom here. This is a temp sensor for the gauge. You can see it's kind of dark. Very tight. And that's about it for this video, I think. It's just a basic explanation of what I've been doing. We'll get in more detail later. We'll be starting this engine up probably within the week. We'll get the body back on. I have some body modifications I want to do. I want to get the body. There's a lot of body modifications I want to do and get a paint job on the body. Now the Honda engine, I drove this for 2 years and put 11,000 miles on it. So I had a lot of fun with this car. This car is a blast to drive. And now, that was 130 horse. Now with 210 horse, it's going to be wicked. Can't wait for the ride. Oh, these seats. 2 seats in here, very tight. Couldn't put regular seats in. So these are fiberglass dune buggy seats, layback style. They get padding underneath with a leather cover over it. Pretty nice. I got to make headrests. My headrests are going to bolt right here. And like I said, I have an engine cover that goes over here. We're going to put a scoop here also for the engine. That's going to be pretty cool. I did this all myself. So everything I did myself. Thank you very much, and check out the Facebook page. I'll put a link down, and you can see some actual pictures of the rear end assembly. I will be doing prints on this, and I think we'll be selling them for really cheap, like $2 to $5 for the print dimensions and stuff that I did. And we'll have a drawing for the rear axle assembly so you can get that made for yourself. Well, we'll do both styles. The new style is going to be aluminum. That's all steel. It's pretty heavy. That assembly weighs 90 pounds in the back with the wheel and tire. I need to cut that weight down. And that's all for today. See ya.